The Champions League this week was super dramatic, and a lot of that drama came at Estádio da Luz in Portugal, where Benfica beat Real Madrid to knock them out of the top 8 and secure a place in the playoffs for themselves. That game gave us everything: goals, a penalty, red cards, a comeback story, and very late drama. But the biggest storyline of the entire league phase was the goalkeeper scoring the most dramatic goal in the very last seconds of the game. That has inspired us to look at other times where things like this have happened. These are 7 times goalkeepers have scored the most dramatic late goals. Of course, we'll start with Anatoliy Trubin. The Ukrainian was an absolute hero in that game against Real Madrid. He made 4 saves during the game to keep the Portuguese club in it long enough to get something out of the game. Then, in the final moments, came the icing on the cake. With every other game having been completed, all eyes were on Benfica, who seemed destined to bow out of the Champions League despite leading Real Madrid 3-2. In order to leapfrog Marseille for that last playoff spot, they needed to score 1 more goal. With just seconds to go and everything to play for, Mourinho instructed Trubin to go up for a free kick, and would you believe it? The goalkeeper managed to get his head on the cross and head it past Thibaut Courtois to send Benfica straight to the playoffs. It was literally the last touch of the game, and it sent the entire stadium into a frenzy. To have scored that goal in the Champions League at the 98th minute in front of the home fans and against Real Madrid of all teams to keep his team in the Champions League was just absolutely incredible. We will just never see anything like this again. And in this same competition a few years back, it was Ivan Provedel who produced some real late drama with his head. Lazio were headed for what looked like certain defeat in their group stage game against Atletico Madrid, but in the dying seconds of the game, the keeper decided to go up into the other box. The 4 minutes of additional time which were given by the referee had already been exhausted, so they were on borrowed time. And then, in the last moments of the game, Luis Alberto put a dangerous cross into the box, and it was Provedel who showed the most hunger, attacked it, and put it past Jan Oblak in the opposing goal. It was some real drama, and it was absolutely crazy, even crazier because he managed to do it right in front of the home fans. Everybody in the stadium that day went absolutely mental. Another goal that made everyone go crazy was the one Alisson scored in the Premier League a few years back. This was back in the 2020 to 2021 season when Liverpool were having one of the worst Premier League title defences ever. They were struggling game after game, and it wasn't any different when they went up against relegation-threatened West Brom. This game, which came right at the end of the season, was very important because, in order to secure a place in the Champions League the following season, Liverpool had to win. But in the last moments of the game, they weren't doing that. They were tied at 1-1. So, when Liverpool won a corner kick at the death, Alisson ran up to join the rest of the team in the other box, not even thinking about what might happen if West Brom had a counter-attack. Trent Alexander-Arnold delivered the most scrumptious cross into the box from the corner, and it was Alisson who rose highest and contorted his body enough to send the ball into the back of the net with the very last touch of the game. That particular 95th minute goal from Alisson was enough to secure Liverpool a place in the Champions League the following season, and it ended up being a very important one as the Reds would go on to reach the final of that competition in 2022. Looking back, that particular goal had an incredible butterfly effect, making it an even more significant one in hindsight. Now, there's another goalkeeper who has scored a very dramatic late goal in the Premier League. Can you guess who we're talking about here? Take a shot at it in the comments, we'll see if you're right soon. While you're there, if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, go do that right away so you never miss out on our amazing content. Done? Now, back to the video. You see, while most goalkeepers score late goals with their heads, Oscarine Masuluke took his like a seasoned centre forward. The South African goalie produced this truly magical moment back in 2016 in a game between Baroka and Orlando Pirates in the South African Premier Division. With additional time of the second half already exhausted and Baroka desperately needing a goal, Masuluke had come up to join the rest of the team for a corner in what was sure to be the last action of the game. The Pirates goalkeeper came out to punch the cross, and with the ball far away from the goal, Masuluke had no other option but to pull out the acrobatics. He swung his foot and his body and delivered the most delicious bicycle kick to send the ball into the back of the net and secure a very vital point for his team. The fact that the goalkeeper scored was one thing, the fact that he scored a late equalizer was another, but to have scored in that manner, yeah, that was absolutely bonkers. The goal was nominated for the 2017 FIFA Puskás Award, but it finished second to Olivier Giroud's scorpion kick goal for Arsenal. Speaking of scorpion kick goals, would you believe us if we told you that a goalkeeper once produced a similar goal in the very last minutes of a game? We'll have to take you all the way back to 2015 for this very special one from Martin Henson. ADO Den Haag were losing at home against PSV, and in the final moments of additional time, when ADO got a free kick, the goalkeeper decided to go up. It was a very crowded box and the cross didn't go high as the players would have wanted, so Henson had to improvise. He threw himself forward and backheeled the ball into the back of the net, and that was enough to earn his team a very important draw against the Dutch Giants. At the end of the season, the club named that skillful strike the goal of the season, and you have to say it was very well deserved. Now, remember we said that there's another goalkeeper who scored a very dramatic late goal in the Premier League? It's none other than the legend, Peter Schmeichel. This was way back in 2001 when he was playing for Aston Villa. They were 3-1 down against Everton without much hope of getting anything out of the game. So, when they got a corner kick in the closing moments of the game, a frustrated Schmeichel decided to go up and try to make something happen. The cross from the corner was headed backwards and it fell sweetly for Schmeichel, who volleyed the ball into the net like a striker in his prime. That goal was historic as it was the first time a goalkeeper had ever scored a goal in the history of the Premier League. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get Villa anything out of the game. But till date, it's something the villains, as well as the rest of the footballing community, fondly remembers as it was certainly a collector's item. We'll now wrap up this video with Yassine Bounou. The Moroccan shot stopper is a dude who's liked by many because of his cheerful personality and quality between the sticks. But in 2021, he showed that he's also pretty skilled in the opposite box. It was the very last seconds of a La Liga game between Sevilla and Real Valladolid, and the Andalusians were a goal down and headed for defeat. With additional time almost up, Bounou decided to go up to help the team with one last attack. There was a lot of confusion in the box and it looked like the chance had gone, but in the end, the ball fell nicely for the keeper just outside the 6-yard box, and he executed the most perfect left foot finish to secure a massive point for Sevilla. It was so dramatic and the Moroccan goalie could not contain his joy, ripping his shirt off and running off to celebrate what was the first and only goal of his entire career. Now, are there more goalkeepers who have come up with some very dramatic late goals? Tell us about them in the comments. Also, share with us what your favorite goal by a goalkeeper is. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.